So staying with us, you're watching The Agenda. Now, last week, President Cyril Ramaphosa presented letters of credence to new heads of mission from 14 countries. One of the recipients was American Ambassador Reuben E. Brigety, the second, whose stint comes fresh off the visit to South Africa by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Ambassador Brigety, congratulations are in order. Welcome to South Africa and to the show.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Now, Ambassador, just what did you think of the ceremony to confirm your position as U.S. head of mission in South Africa, along with your colleagues?
It was quite an honor, and I have to say, a very dignified ceremony to represent or to welcome myself and 13 other colleagues. President Ramaphosa was very gracious and also made very important remarks to all of our assembled chiefs of mission, and I was deeply honored to participate in it.
So you take up your position fresh on the heels of that visit by Secretary of State Antony Blinken to three major South African countries on the quest to outline the U.S.'s new strategy towards Africa. I imagine that matters relating to Africa are not new to you. You have worked as an ambassador at the African Union representing the U.S. How are you interpreting this new strategy as you start your work in South Africa?
Well, first of all, it was a fantastic visit by Secretary of State Blinken here to South Africa, where, as you say, he unveiled the U.S. strategy to Africa in a speech at the University of Pretoria. He also had very good meetings with South African Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor. The two of them have a very good personal relationship. As it relates to the new strategy and relates to South Africa, I think a couple of things can be said. First of all, the government of the United States maintains its strong commitment to the continent, and it is in the interest of the United States that that Africa and South Africa in particular be successful in providing prosperity to its people, be successful in terms of offering lives of dignity, being successful in terms of ensuring health and education for every African. And the new strategy is meant to continue to take those commitments into the next several years. And so that strategy for the continent is consistent with our strategy for South Africa itself, which comes from a conversation between our respective presidents, from President Ramaphosa and President Biden, focused on four things: health, trade and investment, climate and energy, and regional infrastructure. Those are the four priorities that our respective presidents have set. As chief of mission here for the U.S. mission, we will be guided by those four things, plus two additional ones. The fifth is sort of an ongoing dialogue on global issues. Foreign Minister Pandor made clear that she definitely values the continued engagement with the government of the United States on issues beyond South Africa. And then also the sixth priority would be on education. I am a fourth generation educator. I believe deeply in the value of education in terms of providing opportunities for young people. We know that education is vitally important here in South Africa in order to bridge the skills gap so that the next generation of South Africans can have a vibrant future here in the country.
In outlining those priorities, the Secretary spoke about fostering openness and equal partnerships, partnering with Africa, helping in the continued responses to COVID-19, and helping Africa on a clean energy transition. The balance of power in U.S.-Africa relations is one of those perennial conversations. What brought about this turn of seeking to be equal partners in dealing with these challenges?
Well, first of all, it's not new. Notwithstanding what we all recognize are the historical inequalities between African countries and those beyond the continent, particularly in the West of the United States. I think certainly since independence, and most especially over the last 2 to 3 decades, there has been an increasing move to ensure that our relations are ones in which we're listening to each other. Those are the best sorts of relationships when our agenda is set in common. And notwithstanding the substantial differences in wealth and capabilities, because as I say, it is in the interest of the United States that Africa be successful on its own terms. And so what you're seeing in this new strategy is simply a sharpening, if you will, of that long-term commitment towards strengthening partnerships and trying to take it, quite frankly, to the next level as we face challenges in the 21st century.
So Minister of International Relations, Dr. Naledi Pandor, wrote a press article at the weekend titled U.S. Ties Bode Well for South Africa. She speaks about the urgency to grow the South African economy and how the U.S. can assist by supporting the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and AGOA. What are the plans in this regard just to help South Africa revive its economy?
Sure. Well, first of all, U.S. private sector engagement in South Africa is strong, and we look forward to being stronger. Over the last decade, U.S. foreign direct investment in South Africa has grown from about $13.5 billion to over 20. Bilateral trade, the value of bilateral trade has grown from about $13.5 billion to $21 billion. We expect that will be able to grow substantially more in the years ahead. Secondarily, there are over 600 companies represented here in South Africa, and we expect to continue to make the case for why more American companies should arrive. And crucially, doing so in a way that helps to grow and create jobs here in South Africa. U.S. investment here is directly responsible for, we think, about 100,000 jobs right now, and that simply has to grow so that South Africans can find their own future, particularly young South Africans as well, where the unemployment rate here is so high. As it relates to AGOA, AGOA will be up for renewal in 2025. Renewal of AGOA depends on reauthorization by the U.S. Congress, and we are in continued conversations with them. We very much hope that the government of South Africa is also in consultations with the U.S. Congress with regard to the reauthorization of AGOA in a few years' time.
In the same article, the minister talks about the three challenges of inequity, poverty, and unemployment that South Africa is beset with. These are really challenging problems, and she expresses looking forward to the U.S. helping in this regard. Are you up to that task?
Well, we're sure going to try. I think that the foreign minister has correctly articulated those three challenges with regard to poverty, inequality, and unemployment. South Africa, as we all know, is the most unequal society on the planet, with one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. And that obviously leads to issues of poverty as well. We believe that part of addressing that has to be improving skills in the general population, so that they're ready for to compete and engage in the 21st century economy. South Africa has many strong fundamentals that make it an attractive place for investment globally, not simply in the context of Africa. The strong rule of law, obviously the transport links, the wide variety of natural resources that are available here, and the segment of the skilled population that is capable of engaging in 21st century economy. It is simply vital that we focus on issues of education and linking education to job opportunities in order to ensure that we have the human capital to address those three challenges that the foreign minister articulated.
And finally, the conversations in the U.S. at the moment are the approaching midterms and also the conversations about former President Donald Trump. How are you engaging with conversations in South Africa as you start your job?
Sure. Well, what I'd say is that as these sorts of issues are on full display for the whole world to see in my home country, what you are seeing is a democracy that is working things out. As I've said, both South Africa and the United States are two of the world's great constitutional democracies. And in a democracy, the price for free people is that the people have to participate to ensure that the values and the institutions that mark a democracy are perpetuated, and that those basic norms of freedom of speech, of rule of law, of civic participation apply. And so those are the issues that are being discussed from a wide variety of perspectives across the political spectrum in the United States. There certainly are analogs here in South Africa, but that's for the South African people to decide. And we look forward to being partners in democracy with the government people of South Africa in the years ahead.
Ambassador Brigety, thanks once again for making the time and welcome to the country. We hope to be engaging with you on several issues as you go through your term.